Hi there, my name is Marcus. I'm one of the farm managers here at Seed Savers, and today we're going to be talking about trellising tomatoes and why it's important and how to do it. So first off, the materials you need are some sort of small twine. I usually use white box twine. I can hook it on my belt, but this works for this purpose. This is just simple baling twine. And yeah, any little string will hold it. So what you want to do is, you can see the first string we already put on, and you want to get this before they get tall because they'll fall over, they'll start to curve, and then it just makes the whole process harder. So you want to kind of eyeball it to where you want it on your tomato plant and tie it off to your T-post or wooden stake or whatever you have at home. And this is a great way for home gardeners to do it because you only need two pieces of material. You need T-posts and twine and healthy growing tomato plants. So you take the string and you run it all the way down to your end of your bed. And then come back to the start, and what you want to do here is make a loop and hook it around the T-post. And you don't do the last T-post because you'll cut it and then tie it off. What you want to do for the next step is pull this down to where you want it lined up with. Kind of loop the tomato plants. And this is one of the most important steps. Pull it really tight because if it's loose, they're just going to fall over. And keep the tension as you walk down the bed. So, and then when you get to the end, give yourself a little extra slack to tie it. And I would recommend wrapping it a couple times to not lose that tension. And then tie it off. And then you'll do the exact same thing on the opposite side. So it's kind of just a little row of twine all the way down, and your tomatoes are right between it. And it's really important to do this with tomatoes because it promotes airflow. So if they were just on the ground, they're not going to get a lot of airflow, which can invite a lot of diseases and pests. It also will help the sun hit the fruits, which will ripen them faster. And so also after you do this, you want to go through and do some pruning. Not really a good example on here, but any leaf that's touching the ground, I would remove. Pretty much anything below the first fruit set, you want to take off. And then any suckers, which here's a good example. I know they're small, but you want to get these off of here, otherwise it'll just get really bushy and out of control. One other important thing to note is when you are done with your two twine lines, you want to come through and kind of move all these leaves up to the next line so they're kind of resting, and that's how it's going to continue to stand up and not fall over. And make sure you have the heads in the actual line itself. I'd recommend doing it this way for home gardeners because it's really easy and accessible to get all of these materials. Like I said, you can use wooden stakes, T-post, PVC, really anything you have. And yeah, that is trellising tomatoes. Happy trellising.